Xbox news seems to currently be all about the high profile flops. We're looking at you, Lord of the Rings Gollum. So let's run with it. Which of the games in June 2023 are the next to flop? Will it be Diablo 4? That would certainly make the headlines, but we doubt it. Perhaps Crash Team Rumble is a fumble. Whatever you think of them, here are 13 of the games due to release in June 2023 that we think you should be playing on your Xbox. And the first game on our list is Street Fighter VI. It feels like an age since a mainline Street Fighter graced the Xbox, and we can already feel the Dragon Punch muscle memory kicking in. Two inclusions take Street Fighter VI to a new level. The first is a single-player adventure mode that lets you construct your own fighter, wander around a city, and start fights with anyone you fancy. The other is a simplified, modern combat system that helps you to perform the moves you've always struggled with. Finally, we might pull off a spinning pile driver. We love Katamari Reroll plus Royal Reverie. A modern-day re-sprucing of a Katamari game that actually made it onto an Xbox console back in the day. We Love Katamari comes rolled up into a ball with Royal Reverie, a set of 5 all-new challenges as well as the all-important selfie mode. With promises to improve the UI, sharpen up the graphics and improve some of the slightly awkward rolly ball physics, it could make you feel like the king of the cosmos. Layers of Fear. Now that's a lot of layers. Layers of Fear serves up not only Layers of Fear and Layers of Fear 2, but all DLC and a new chapter, The Writer. That's a whole heap of jump scares. Layers of Fear doesn't only bring together the two games that got Bloober Team on their way, it slavers on some ray tracing, HDR and 4K resolution, as well as housing it all in Unreal 5. The intention is that the 3 stories will flow seamlessly into one another, as the arc of 3 crafters, the painter, the actor and the writer, come together to form a kind of opus, one that Bloober Team intended all along. Diablo IV. A proper Diablo is finally arriving onto console, and we couldn't be more thrilled. We're prepping our Necromancer build and heading into Sanctuary to rack up some demon kills. By the sounds of it, most of the gaming community will be joining us. The betas and early press builds have been nothing short of stellar. Some intrusive MTX stuff aside, Diablo IV is looking like an early GOTY contender. It's time to start booking some tactical days off. Amnesia, the bunker. Oh hell no, props to you if you've managed to pluck up the courage and play Amnesia the Bunker. It represents the horror series' first real period shift. It takes the action back to World War I, as you play as a French soldier who wakes up in a bunker with no one else around. Well, we say no one else around, but there are still mindless beasties wandering around with a taste for French cuisine. Luckily, you're a resourceful chap, so you use the tools and weapons at your disposal to either creep out of harm's way or throw yourself into it. Us? We're going to stealth past Amnesia the Bunker and play the next game instead. F1 23. If you're already sick of the Red Bull dominance of Formula 1, then you can change things to be your way with F1 23. The 16th entry in the Codemasters and now EA series, F1 23 raids its past for some inclusions. That includes Breaking Point 2, the sequel to the single-player campaign that was introduced in F1 21. Also a blast from the past is Red Flags, last seen in F1 2014, so you'd better keep an eye out for changing racing conditions if you want to move up the championship. Park Beyond. Bandai Namco have noted a complete lack of theme park games on the Xbox and confidently strode in with Park Beyond. It really is a spiritual successor, with all the oversalted pretzels and contagious vomiting that you could hope for. In freeform modes or a campaign, you play the role of Visioneer, a combination of creator, manager and designer. That basically means you have the freedom to design the roller coasters, manage the price of ice cream and count the pennies that come in. We'd be cynical and say that Park Beyond doesn't really offer much different from its forebearers, but when those forebearers aren't around and Park Beyond looks as good as it does, then we tend to drop the complaints. Aliens Dark Descent. We've seen the Alien universe through a multitude of visors, from first-person shooters to turn-based tactical games, all the way to survival horrors. Now you can add isometric action games to the list, as Aliens Dark Descent does much of what Halo Spartan Assault did for the Halo universe. You've been hired to command a squad of hardened colonial marines to stop a terrifying xenomorph outbreak on planet Leaf. Wayland Yutani Corps are there too, because they can't keep their greedy mitts off. What ensues is all-out action as you level up your squad and kill the aliens. Crash Team Rumble. 2 teams, 4 players on each, face off against each other in an arena. The objective? To capture more Wumpa fruit than the other team to claim victory. That Wumpa fruit can be taken from the arena itself, or it could be half-inch from the opposing team's base. Each character has their own unique skills and abilities, falling roughly into classes of blocker, booster and scorer. It looks like it will need far more team coordination and sticking to the plan than we're capable of. Cue losing at Crash Team Rumble. Harmony, the Fall of Reverie. Life is Strange makers Dontnod haven't truly found their footing since leaving the series. Vampire, Twin Mirror and Tell Me Why haven't set the world alight, although Vampire did have its charms, leaving us wondering if Dontnod have another defining narrative adventure in them. In comes Harmony, the Fall of Reverie. Stripped back to a dreamy 2D presentation, it looks like a meeting point between Opus, Echo of Starsong and Heaven's Vault, 2 of our favourite games of the generation. It's pitching itself well then, and we're eager to see if Dontnod have regained their mojo. The story? We can barely make sense of it on the page. It's something about a clairvoyant who can travel into an alternate dimension where she's a goddess, but we've got faith that the Life is Strange makers can make it sing. Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. Possibly the longest we've had to wait for a game port, Ghost Trick Phantom Detective finally arrives on the Xbox after releasing on the Nintendo DS in 2010. It casts a player as Cecil, a ghost determined to save the lives of the living. He's able to move between the land of the living, where he can possess corpses and pull off the titular ghost trick to travel into their past, and the land of the dead, where time completely stops. By moving between these 2 states, Cecil can prevent tragedy and solve the mysteries of people's deaths. Originally designed for the DS touchscreen, it's going to be fascinating to see how Ghost Trick Phantom Detective translates to the sticks. Super Mega Baseball 4. The overly superlative baseball game arrives in its 4th iteration this month with Super Mega Baseball 4. Clearly pitched at baseball fans who like things arcadey and bobbleheady, it's also been arguably the best video game version of the sport for the past few years now. This time around we get 200 new legends joining the roster, including Vladimir Guerrero, Johnny Damon and Ozzie Smith. We hope they mean more to you than they do to us. You can also delight in the news that there is an expanded trait system with team chemistry, shuffle draft and 6 all-new stadiums. Dordogne. Taking the best looking indie game of the month crown is Dordogne. Imagine the watercolour sketchbook of a Studio Ghibli artist and you've got it. This is one of the most refreshingly gorgeous narrative games that we can recall, and we can't wait to play it. Dordogne is a prolonged memory recalled by an adult Mimi, as young Mimi innocently plays around in the company of her grandma. Reminiscing on the decisions that would shape her as she got older, Mimi is a tale of innocence and what causes it to become lost. Expect to get teary-eyed as Dodonia manages to reflect your own childhood back at you. So that's June's games out of the way, and looking forward to July. We hate to be the bearer of bad news, but next month is looking a tad sparse. That's to be expected for the summer months, but there's still the odd game of merit, with The Expanse, a Telltale series, Exoprimal, and Immortals of Avium all commendably bringing new IP rather than sequels to the big black box. We'll see you in July's Up Next, when we'll shine a light on each and every one of them.